Okay, so it says storage is full. Let me just try something else, okay? Just give me a moment.
All right.
Fine. So, okay, just need to confirm once again. Is my audio clear and my screen visible?
The screen is no longer visible. It's black.
No, that's actually my wallpaper. Is it visible now?
Okay, now I can see a box.
Ah, yeah, good to go. So, see, this whole course will be regarding Python. Okay,
Python.
so why do we even program? Can you tell me something? Why even code? Have you heard something, anything at all? Give me an idea.
Um, I feel like coding is for like running running programs. Um,
Yeah,
like for scripts. Like if you want to like do a task, you can code something. You can use Python. Some people use it for like building like websites.
exactly.
Like stuff like that.
So basically to solve problems. Okay, if
Yes.
you have a problem, even in your real life, you can sort of simulate it into computers and get the result out of it. Of course,
Yes.
you can build an application, a website, a text-based program, even games with it, and so on and so forth. But what exactly is a program? So if I give you an official documentation, a program is just a sequence of instructions. Okay, nothing more than that. Just that this sequence will be in one particular language, which is Python. But why even choose a programming language? Why not go ahead with, let's say, human languages like English or maybe French? So see, we basically face two problems with our human languages. The very first one being that human languages are ambiguous. Okay, what do I mean by that?
All right.
So see, one word can have more than one interpretation. So that's an issue. Another thing with human languages is it is very verbose. So there's a lot of vocabulary to learn. If you are
Okay.
supposed to learn a programming language, it shouldn't really be verbose. So there should be a particular set of vocabulary. Also, it should not be ambiguous. That is, one word should have one particular meaning, nothing more than that. So
All
that's
right.
where a language like Python falls in. Although you must have heard of other languages as well, maybe C, maybe Java, and many, many more, JavaScript, etc., etc. Okay,
Yes.
but what exactly is Python then? So if we go according to the Google's definition, let me check it right now. So if Python programming language. Let's see. So let's click on this part. So here's a Wikipedia article. It says that Python is a high-level journal purpose programming language. What do you think this high level could mean? Any
I
idea?
feel like I feel like high level is like it's more like more
Sounds like something
complicated.
superior, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
something good, advanced. But trust me, in computer science, a high level programming language is just the one that humans can understand easily. So
Mm.
anything that you can easily read will be considered as a high-level language. So all the languages that you have heard of earlier, like Python, Java, C, they are all high-level languages. But then what are low-level languages? Right. See, here's the thing. You must have heard that computers actually understand the binary, the 0101, right? So how would a computer understand our high-level language? And how would we understand its low-level language? Now there's an issue. So what can we do here? We would need a translator. Okay, let me just show it to you diagrammatically. So if your computers understand binary and we understand human language, we would need a translator somewhere. So your computers are 0101 and here we are writing a code somewhere. This translator can actually be of two types. The very first one, let's take an example. Suppose I speak English and there's someone who speaks French. There can be two types of translation. One being I can write everything in English, then translate all of it at once into French. This works. Another sort of a translation could be this one. I write one statement, translate it into French. Then another statement here, translate it into French. This is again a type of translation. Now, these two translations in computer science have got different names. This thing is known as interpretation. This thing is known as your compilation, and this thing is known as your interpretation. Now, Python is an interpreted language. What do I mean by that? Whenever you write a code in Python, let's suppose it's of 10 lines, so code gets translated into machine's language one by one. So if there's one line, it will convert this thing into machine 0101, and so on and so forth. What's the
Right,
benefit of
so it's like
such?
Python, like you're transcripting a type of language into like, oh, I saying like you write something down in Python, not kind of like transcript to like the thing that you want it to do.
Exactly, exactly. Because see, the computer that you are using is just a piece of hardware, right? It really
Yeah,
doesn't understand English. So behind
yeah,
the scenes, your computers actually understand 0101. But
yeah.
we can't really code in this language, at least not in 2023. So we need a programming language. So whatever we write in, that gets translated into this code so that your machine, that piece of hardware, can understand something. It deals with those situations here, give us the output back in our English sort of a language. Make sense? And this translation, what Python does, is known as interpretation. And that's what a high level language is, which is human understandable. But to make this sort of conversion, we use a translator. Make sense?
All right.
Okay. Now the next part, a general purpose programming language. So as the name says, it can be used generally. What do I mean by that? So you can get into web if you start with Python. You can get into automation. You can get
Well,
engineering or some
okay.
of the hyped term as well, machine learning, AI, etc., etc. Not just this, you can even get into mobile development, your system development, and many more things. But mainly, if you choose Python, you should have just these three ambitions. Either you want to get into web later, or automation, or anything to do with data science, okay, or AI in general. If you plan on moving for mobile applications or system applications, Python should not really be considered, mainly because these things have got their own monopoly. For example, if we go ahead with mobile applications, the Android prefers their own language, the iOS prefers their own languages. For system again, your Mac OS prefer their language, Windows operating system prefer their language. So Python only choose this language if you want to get into any of these domains, either web development, the backend part, automation, any sort of automation actually, or anything related to data science, machine learning, etc. Okay, and that's the part. But why choose Python? Like, why not other languages? So see, the very first thing is Python is simple actually. But here's a task. If it's the very first language that you are learning, you can find it difficult, of course. It is simple compared to other programming languages. So if you have ever seen any other programming language ever, you would definitely find it easier. Easier in a sense, you will have to write less code to get more of the things done. That's the easy part. Okay. What can be another thing? Why even learn Python? So remember we talked of the vocabulary, languages being verbose. So Python programming language has a very small vocabulary set. So when the language was built, there are around 33 keywords, and that's it. If you understand all of them, which we will throughout the session.
Oh, and I just want to let you know, um, like keep the like sessions under 1 hour, cause normally in the morning times, like around like 12 or like 1 or so, I go to work. So I just want to let you know too as
That's,
well.
that's totally all right. That's totally all right. So we'll
All right,
keep the sessions for just 1 hour, okay? Don't worry about it.
all right.
Another major reason why Python is considered today is because of functionality known as extensibility. So what do I
Sensibility.
mean by Python being extensible? So here's an example. Let's suppose we want to code in Python, and suppose there are 1000 lines in there. Everything is going perfectly fine. But then somewhere here we have got, let's say, 10 lines which are working comparatively slower than other code. So what can we do here? Here's a solution. We can actually write these 10 lines in a faster language. So there are languages faster than Python actually. C is faster than Python, C++, Java. And this feature makes Python even more usable. Now you can code in a easier language, and if there is something that's running slow, you have solutions which are built on faster running languages, and you can put them in here. In fact, that's the reason why Python is considered in any real world application or any ML AI sort of tool. You can write code easily, but behind the scenes, the code that's working is actually written in C and C++ languages, which you don't have to learn. You just need to know how to use it in Python. Makes sense? And this is the major feature why Python is considered a popular language. Another could be because Python is a fairly old language, so it is a very community-rich language. That is, if you ever fall into any trap, if you ever get any error while coding, you can just Google it up, get a solution, and you are good to go. Also, if you want to build anything in Python, you won't have to write code from scratch. There will be someone out there, some community or some company maybe, who would have given you some solution, and you can build your tool upon it. You wouldn't have to write things from scratch. And that's the good part, because it's a community-rich language. Community-rich language. It is pretty old, and that's the good thing. What else? So there are many softwares built into Python using Python, but most of them are mainly does the web applications, automation tool, and anything that you heard about the AI part. But now comes the major part. How do we even run the program? Where to actually run this thing? So two things that you would need is, first of all, the Python itself. Second one being a platform where you'll write the code. So let's just call it platform for now. Where do I get Python from? Pretty easy. There's the official website, python.org. Python.org. Simply get in here. In your system, you can just move to this downloads button. Somewhere here, you will see Python 3.12. Just click on it. It will download the software onto your system, and we can install it. Okay. Of course, I'll ask you to share your screen later to get it installed on your system, because everything will be hands-on. Don't worry about it. And now we have Python. Voila. Next thing, where do we write the code? So this thing, what I say platform, these can be of many types. The very first one is pretty easy, and what we'll actually be using, it's a coding editor. Coding editors are different from your normal text editor like MS Word. So coding editor are used to, of course, code. By default, you would have heard of Notepad or Notepad++ in your system. You can code Python in there as well. But like the one that I'm using, it is something known as Sublime. There are many coding editors available. You can just go with any one of them. For this course, I would advise to go ahead with this one so that there won't be an issue. Although code remains the same no matter which platform you use. So not a big deal. Now, where do I get this Sublime from? Again, pretty easy. Simply go to the Sublime's official website. So I can say Sublime. Just click on it. Somewhere here you will get the download button. According to your computer's operating system and the version, you will get it downloaded. Let me go here. So I'm using Windows right now. I click on it. It will get downloaded and a simple installation. Okay. By the way, which system are you using right now? Is it Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Okay. So later on you can share your screen and I'll guide you through the process. Okay. So this is one platform where you can code. There are other categories of platform available. So sometimes, see, coding editors are good if you just want to write 1 page, 2 page solution. Okay, just small tools if you want to build. If you want to build, let's say, a bigger software, maybe a website, you wouldn't be using just Python in there or just a programming language. You can use more than one languages and more than just languages in there. So to handle them all at one place, you can use a better platform, something known as an IDE. It stands for Integrated Development Environment. Again, Nothing fancy, just a piece of software that contains a coding editor along with some other tools as well. Pretty simple, nothing more than that. There can be another platforms as well. So especially if you want to ever get into data science or machine learning, etc., there are newer platforms on the notebooks. Okay, so again, what are these platforms? So they will give you an editor where you can write the code. Along with that, you can write text. You can have your presentations in there, add images to it, graphs, see the data in Excel sort of a format, and those sort of a thing. In our course, we'll be going ahead with coding editor. Okay. Uh, Later on in our sessions, if we look into how to deal with data sets in real life, of course, I can show you the notebooks part as well. So that's the part.
Right.
Any doubt till here?
So that program that you've been showing, I couldn't really see like how to download it.
Okay. So let's do one thing. I'll stop the screen share. You start sharing your screen and let's try to do it. Okay?
Okay. How do I share my screen?
Okay. Let me guide you through the process.
How do I share my screen?
Wait, I'll just allow you to share your screen. Okay? So allow. Okay. So in this platform, down somewhere, can you see the share button?
Yes.
Okay. Just tap on it. Can you see share desktop option?
Yes. I think that's the one I selected. Can you see my whole
Yeah.
screen?
Yep, I
Okay.
can now. I can now. So just open your Chrome. On a new tab, just type in Python. Hit
Oh,
enter.
Chrome. It has to be Chrome.
Yeah, anything would work. Doesn't really matter. Just
All
type
right.
in Python. Hit enter. The very first. Nope, not this, not this. Just scroll down a little. Okay, let's actually do one thing. Go in your search option. Type in python.org. At the top where you. Okay, just type it in here. That's fine. Yeah, here. Python.org. O-R-G. Fine. Just hover over that downloads button. Down. Yep. Yep. Click on that 3.12 right side. Yep. And voila. It should get downloaded. Just go to your just tap on that keep button. Yes. Now open a new tab. We'll install it later. Don't worry. Okay, let's do it now. Wait, just a second. Can you see that at the bottom there's a checkbox, add Python exe to path. Can you see that? Just click on it. Okay.
Right.
And click on install now. Back button.
Oh.
Okay. Wait, just hit on install now. Okay, it will be done. Till that time, just go back to your browser. Open a new tab. Write down Sublime.
Sublime.
Sublime. Yes, Sublime. L-I-M-E. L-I-M-E. Text. Sublime text. Yep. Hit enter. Okay. The very first link. Let's click on it. Click on that download for Windows button. Okay. Let's wait. Okay. Again, it got blocked. Just fix it. Should be done by now. Okay. Great. Now, yeah. Now, while we install this thing, can you go back to that Python installation? Is it installed by now? Yeah, just click on next, next, and it will be done. Nothing fancy here.
It's all
Okay,
done.
it's about to be done. Let's just wait for a while. Yeah, just click on install here. We are good to go, I guess. Let's wait.
I'm just waiting on. Oh, that was successful.
Okay, perfect. Just hit on close button. Okay, and this. Now do me a favor. Just go to your start button down left. Search for CMD. type in cmd. We'll learn about it later. For now, just hit enter. Yep, command prompt. Just type in Python and hit enter. Python, hit enter. Okay, voila. It is installed now. Python 3.12.0. Okay, good to go. Another test. Just close this command prompt. Open search for Sublime Text just to check if that got installed as well. Okay, I can see it. Perfect. And now you have a platform and the language itself. Make sense? And now let's see how do we even code and get the solutions. Okay, so do one thing. Just stop the screen share. I'll start sharing my screen again and we'll continue with something. Okay, good. Just confirm. Is my screen visible now? Is it?
No. No.
Can you see?
I cannot see it. Yes.
Perfect. So how would you code? The very first thing is you'll open your Sublime Text. It will look empty initially. So the very first step is go to this file option, top left hand side, go to new file. Or if you can remember, you can just tap on control N button on your keyboard. The very first thing is you gotta save this file. So hit control S or go to file and save and just save it somewhere. So for example, what I would normally do is I'll save your files in this Python session. Okay. For now, I'll just keep it, let's say, in my documents. Now, when you try to save a Python file, just name it something along with the .py extension. So let me call it first .py. Now this is an important part to save it as .py file, so your computer knows that it's a Python file. For example, if you want to save a text file, it is .txt. Let's say Excel file is XLSX. Similarly, Python file should have a .py extension. Save it, and we are good to go. Now here's where we'll write the code. So what can we write? Let's start with something pretty simple. If you just want to print something to your screen, there's a function known as print. Now what is a function? A function is something that does something. This is what a function will look like. A function will have a name along with the brackets. Okay, so print function, as the name denotes, it will print something to your screen. And inside the brackets, you can pass in just anything that you want to get printed on your screen. For example, let's say I want to print hello world for now. So you can just write your message in your quotes and let's call it hello world. Next thing, you'll have to save your file. So go to that file option again, save it, or again, just tap on button control S. Now where do we see the result? That's where your command prompt falls in. So we'll search for cmd, hit enter. So see, command prompt is, have you ever used cmd before while learning AWS maybe? Ever?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So you are comfortable with commands like cd, make sense? cd, yes. Change directory. Okay, good, that's good. So all we have to do is, we got to reach to the directory where my Python file is present. Currently it is present in my C user Mohit documents folder. Now in my command prompt, I'm already inside the Mohit document. So all I got to do is cd space documents, hit tab, and we are good to go. Now here's where I have to tell that I want to run that first .py program using Python command. So all I'll say is, I'll write Python space name of my file, and as you would know, you can just hit on tab button. It will autofill the rest of the name and hit enter. If everything is all right, you'll get the result. Otherwise, you'll get some error. Let's hit enter. Okay, let's wait. And voila, there's your answer. That's the output of your Python file. Okay, so behind the scenes, what would have happened is this Python program read this first .py file, converted it into zeros, ones, zero, ones, got the result, and gave you back this output in English. Make sense?
All right. So you just inserted the name of that file. So that file is called first py, and then you Python, and then the name of the file, and then it will show the message.
Exactly.
Okay.
Message, or I mean, this is the easiest code there can be, just to print something. Of course, it will run anything that you tell it to. Okay, but this will be your cycle of running your code. You'll write a code in a platform, a coding editor, and you will run it here. There are other ways to do so, easier ways in fact, but if you ever want to get into coding, trust me, you will have to use command prompt one or the other day. So it's better to get comfortable with it in the beginning. Okay? There are easier
Oh,
ways. We'll look into them later, but this is pretty important to use command prompt. And it's the same. If you, let's say, go for Mac OS later, you'll use terminal there. If you go for Linux later on, you'll use shell there. But the overall idea remains the same. Just some black sort of a screen. You'll need to learn some commands and you are good to go. Now, at the moment, your code was perfectly all right, so you got the result, but that won't really be the case, at least not for initial few days. You will fall into some errors. Maybe you missed your bracket, maybe a quote, or maybe you misspelled print function. What then? So then, if you try to run this code, of course, you will see something else, and that's totally all right. Never be intimidated by error messages. They are there to help you. And good thing about Python is it will suggest you something. For example, if you look into it, it says something cryptic, that syntax error, this was never closed. But it will give you some idea where you went wrong. Also, if you can look into it, it's even pointing out this bracket wasn't closed. Now, at least initially, you can rely on these messages more than 95% of the times. There can be some occasions where they won't appropriately tell you what's the issue, but mostly they'll tell you the line number where the issue is and some hint actually. So what to do next? So go back to your file, fix your issue. How would you do it? You'll learn it throughout the sessions. Although it's a lifelong process, even I fall into errors every single day. You'll fix your code. Remember to save your file back again. So Control S or your this thing, come back here, run the same code, and voila, you have fixed your code and there's your answer. Does this cycle make sense to you? Running your code, writing it down, running it here, getting the result, fixing the errors, coming back here, running it again, getting the result. Is this
yes.
comfortable? Make sense?
Yeah. Looks pretty simple. So you're just trying to transfer what the message is saying from one
Yeah,
place to another.
exactly, exactly. But then this is just one of the examples. So today, let's see what else can we code, okay? Uh, Suppose we want to solve a real world problem. What can it be? So see, basically, whole coding thing depends on three parts. The very first thing is you should know what would be your inputs. Second thing, you should know the algorithm. Just a fancy term, we'll understand what this thing is. And then you should know what is going to be your output. In our case, we just wanted to print something, so not a big deal. How about we solve a problem which we already know how to do in our real life and translate that solution into a Python code? Because see, here's the deal. Uh, if you want to solve anything using Python, you should beforehand know how to solve it in real life. Only then you can create a code out of it. Make sense? So let's take an example. Um, Suppose I want to calculate area of a rectangle. Do you know how to do that?
Um, Wait, area of a rectangle.
Anything that you can do.
I
Average of two
don't.
numbers
I
maybe.
don't the formula. I've got the
Sorry, what?
formula. The area of a rectangle. Uh, I don't remember the formula thing.
Don't worry about it. Give me anything that you can solve. We'll code for it, okay? Don't worry.
Uh,
Maybe add two
uh,
numbers, the simplest thing, right? We just want to add two numbers. So, can you explain this process to me? How would you add two numbers in real life? Just explain me the process.
so I'll take one number, then
Exactly.
I would add the addition sign plus another
Hmm.
number, and then
Exactly.
it will equal to
Uh-huh.
something.
Something. let's call it x maybe, and this is your result, right? Pretty simple. Now, if you know how to do this in real life, we can code for it. Just that now in coding, we'll have to assign all of these steps into different parts. So initially, you should know what would be your inputs. In our case, the inputs are two numbers. So you can store them separately maybe. So let's say there can be one variable which can store one number. There can be another variable that can store the next number. Once you have the inputs, you need an algorithm. Algorithm is again nothing fancy, just a step-by-step solution. Okay. So in our case, it's just a one-step solution. We got to add them together. So you can just say A plus B, and you'll store the result in something. Let's call it C maybe. Okay. And once you have the result, what do we want as an output? We want to see this C as my output. And right now we learned how to see something. There's a function print. Inside this function, if I write down C, it will show me the result. And that's what coding is all about. So let's do one thing. Let's actually write down this whole algorithm and then write a code for it. Again, first things first, I'll open a new file, saving it as something. Let's call it what? Second.py maybe. Okay. So let me write down the algorithm. You don't have to do this with every program, but just to teach you how do we translate a real life situation to a coding solution. So we'll say take one number, or let's call it save two numbers. Let's try simple. Um, Add or be more descriptive, save two numbers, save two variables maybe, then add them up and save the result in a new variable. And finally, you got to print the result. Looks good enough. Now, if you know the algorithm, now we can code for it. I'll just show you the solution. Don't worry, we'll look into these things in depth later on. But of course, even this should look good to you. So I can say 1 can be my variable. I can store, let's say, 10 in here. Okay. Once we are comfortable with the algorithm, you can delete it. Python wouldn't really understand that English part. So this is your code. You can have, let's say, second number, and let's store 5 in here. Then you can have your result equals to, you can add 1 and 2 in here, and finally I can print my result. Now these lines don't really mean anything. It's totally up to you. You can leave a line or you don't want to leave a line. Wouldn't really make a difference. Once you have a solution, just save it. Go to the file, save button, and we are good to go. Now, if everything is all right, I can come back here to your command prompt. Now, if you remember, there's a CLS command to empty this whole screen. If you don't, you will learn it. Don't worry, with your muscle memory. Just type in Python space second.py, hit enter, and voila, there's your answer. That was your code, and here's your answer. Make sense to you now?
It's a little bit complicated, especially with the um like when it's trying to like print out the results.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you can like probably just explain it again, like in a slower, more simple way.
Of course we can. Of course we can. Let's not even code. Let's draw it. Okay.
Okay.
So you know how to add two numbers up, right? You know, let's say 2 plus 3. You would simply store it in some variable, and this is your answer in real life. But if you just keep doing this, you would always be adding 2 and 3 only. Better option could be to store these numbers in some variable somewhere. So maybe there could be a variable A. Even in mathematics, you would store some number in one variable. There could be another variable where you'll store another number. And finally, instead of writing the numbers directly, you can write down these variables. And whatever is present in these variables will get added up and finally get saved in your this x variable. And this is your result. Does this make sense to you?
Mm.
No, no. If they're sent out, do tell me.
When
We
I
can try
sent
something else.
out, you got the 9 plus 6.
No, no, no,
Oh,
that's
oh,
not
that's
nine.
okay. That's
My bad,
A.
my bad.
That's A.
That's A plus B. It's just my pen.
Okay. And then the
Make sense?
2 plus.
So your A
Okay.
holds the value 2 and your B holds the value 3.
3.
So you add them up, store the result in a third variable, and there is your answer.
So it's just remaining of the X.
Sorry, what?
Wait, I thought they're adding the 2 and the 3. How come it's just leaving the X if they're trying to add the 2 plus the 3?
I didn't get you. My bad. Could you please repeat?
Yes, I thought they're trying to add the. I thought they're like adding the A plus the B. So
Mhm.
how come it's only X if they're trying to add the values of A plus B? So if A equals 2 and then B equals 3, wouldn't that turn out to 5? How come it's just X?
Oh, that. No, no. It is 5. It is 5. I'm just showing you
Okay.
that the 5 is present inside your x now. Of course, if you print the x, you will get 5 in the output. So you are correct.
Okay.
That is what we'll get. And that's what we are doing here. You will have two variables. Now these variables can be anything. They don't have to be A, B, X, Y. You can name them just anything. In fact, we'll learn it in depth how to even name the variables, but that's the general idea. It will have some name, it will have some value. If you know the formula, you'll apply it and you'll save the result in some variable. Again, this variable can be anything. You can call it result, maybe output, maybe X, Y, Z. Who cares? And then when you print this result, you will get the output. Now, if you look at these two things, although you are printing result, but we get 15 as an output, right? Because that's what gets stored in your result variable now. Because 10 plus 5 gives you 15. So that got added up here, got stored in your result variable, and that's your output. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes better sense.
Okay, good. If it does, let's try something similar but a different problem maybe. Okay. So now let me even ask first tell you. So if you want to find area of a rectangle, you here's a formula. Your area is equal to your length multiplied by your width. Okay? Or the breadth. Make sense? Like your
Next, but
addition is
okay.
equal to your A plus B. Similarly, your area is equal to length into width
Length and
of
width.
anything. Good, go.
Yep.
So, according to this formula, what do you think the inputs should be? What would we need to calculate the area?
The length times the width.
Exactly. So, you can have a variable, let's call it L. We can put anything in here. We can have width, again, any number in here. They will get multiplied, get stored in the variable area, and you can just print it back to screen. Make sense?
Yes.
Would you want to try it on your system?
Yep.
Okay, I'll stop the screen share. Let's do something hands-on. Let me just stop my screen. Okay, good to go. You can start sharing your screen now.
Next up. Okay. Can you see my screen? Oh,
It is visible. Yep, it is.
okay.
All right, the very first thing, save this file. So go to that save option, sorry, file option, save. Uh, so throughout our sessions, you can just have a folder somewhere in your system where you will keep all the session files, the recordings, assignments, etc. Okay?
So save
Let's say maybe you want to save it in your documents folder.
documents.
Sure. Although later on you can create a folder, let's say Python classes somewhere in your system, and we'll save this files there.
Saving my
Now,
Pythons folder.
sure, just anywhere you want.
Uh, um, I don't know if that one I downloaded has a folder. Uh, do I have to save it to a specific folder?
No, no, no. You can save it just anywhere.
Okay. And then I just give it a name.
Yeah, give it a name. Let's call it class1.py maybe, or program1,
Yeah.
anything that you want.
Not PI.
.py.
PY.
Yep. Py stands for Python. Okay. Save
Okay.
it. And now you can write the code here. Now at the moment I'll dictate it to you. So let's say L equals to, give it any number,
L equals 2.
just any number. Yeah, good to go. Let's say W equal to, and some other number. Yep. And in the third line, let's say area equals to, and you fill in the gap now. Area equal to what?
4.
L into W, length into width. So type in L into multiplied by width. There's just one issue with it. For the multiplication, you won't be using X. You will instead be using the asterisk symbol. How do you type it? So shift 8.
Okay, so it's area equals
L.
L, and then the little star
Yeah.
thing
Yep.
with.
W. Yes. And now you can just go to the next line. Don't worry, just press Control Z. It will undo. Yeah, good to go. Just hit enter. Print area.
Oh,
Type in
print
print.
area.
Yes, because you want to print this thing back to screen, right? Now print is a function, so you'll have, yes, good to go. Now here's a thing. You won't enclose this area into quotes. Just keep it as area without quotes.
Oh, without quotes?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see what the difference is between these two things later on, but for now just print area. Now save the file back again so that we will run the updated file now. Good. Now open your command prompt.
Get close.
Just type in
Alright.
cmd.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, can you just show me where is the file? So it is saved in your OneDrive documents folder, right? So just type in cd space OneDrive. Just hit tab, it will autofill this thing. Okay. Let's just slash, okay. Type in cd space documents now.
CD space documents.
Yes.
That sounds like a fit.
That's all right. Maybe there's some, oh, there's a spelling mistake. So don't worry about it. Just type in cd again, cd space, type in doc, just hit tab, it will autofill the name. Just, no, no, no. Okay, let's try it again. Type in cd space, doc, and hit tab button on your keyboard. There it is. Hit enter. Okay, we are inside the documents folder now. Now you can run the code. So we'll type in Python space, Python space. There's a spelling mistake. Python.
PYDHO.
Thon.
Wait.
H.
PHON.
Yeah. Hon space. Then the name of your file, which is what is it? Last one. So just type, let's say LAS, and then again you can hit tab. It will autofill the complete name. Good enough. Hit enter, and there it is. That's your answer.
Oh wow.
Makes sense? I mean, of course, you
Yes.
will fall into such errors, the spelling mistakes, maybe miss some brackets, so on and so forth, but that's the part of journey, okay? But the overall concept, does that look good now? How to
Yes.
actually start coding the platform? You'll have somewhere where you'll write the code, you'll have another platform where you'll see the result, and the coding part will learn throughout the journey. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So, all right, stop the screen share. Let's do something.
Oh, uh,
That's all right. Go to somewhere you'll see. Okay, good to go. I'll start sharing my screen. Please confirm. Is this screen visible to you now? Is it visible?
Hello? I can't hear you.
Hello? Yeah. Can you
Hello?
hear me now? And is the screen
Yes.
visible?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So if you are comfortable with this thing, let's say we can actually let's increase a difficulty just a little bit. Maybe I want to let's call it third dot py. Let's take a problem. What if we want to find average of two numbers? Now again, the very first thought in your mind should be, how can I calculate average of two numbers in real life? So can you? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you find average of two numbers?
Average, that one, I don't remember.
That's all right. So the average is you just take two numbers. So let's say 2 plus 3, and you just divide it by total numbers that we have. So right now we have got two numbers, so I'll divide this whole thing by 2. What will I get? So 3 plus 2 gives me 5, gets divided by 2 gives me 2.5, and that's the average. What's the average? Is the average value or the middle value of these two numbers, okay? So if you find the average of two numbers, what can you tell me the steps now? The algorithm, I mean, the steps. What would be the requirements? What would we need to do? And what we'll get as an output? Can you explain it to me? If not, that's totally fine as well.
Um,
Let's
so
start
it's the
easy.
two, wait, so is
What
it
would
the
we
two,
need?
oh, the two numbers, so like the two plus the three, and then we divide it on how many numbers there is.
Exactly.
And then once you divide it, it's going to give you that number. So in this case, that would be the 2.5.
Yes. And this is known as average of these two numbers,
All right.
right? Okay. So what would we need as an input? First of all, the two numbers, right? Once we have the two numbers, the second step could be to add them up. So maybe I'll add a plus b, and whatever I get as a result, I can divide that result by 2 now. And that would be my final answer, and I can print that answer. This this is rough work, but does it make sense to you?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
okay, yeah.
Once we are somewhat comfortable with the algorithm, then we can start coding for it. We don't have to write algorithms perfectly. That should just be a rough idea in your mind that this is what I need as an input, this would be journal steps, and finally the output. Let's start fresh. Let's call, let's say, first number maybe. Let's name it, let's keep it same. Okay, let me actually write it as 10. Then I can say second number. It could be maybe 20. Now, the very first step is to add these two numbers. So maybe I can say addition would be equals to my first number plus my
That's
second
my
number.
second number.
Now that's just one part of the average. The second step should be to divide this addition by 2. Why 2? Because I've got two numbers. So let's call it average is equal to my addition, what I got in my previous step, and divide that addition by 2. This should be my average. And finally, I can print my average back to my screen. Oops, my bad. I can say average, and I should be good to go. So if I click on this file, save button, come back here, let's say Python space third.py, hit enter. Voila, there's your answer. Make sense? 15.
Okay. So for the average, it's average equal addition. So the addition is the first number and the second number, divided by 2. Okay.
Now, the important part is not to remember the formula of average. The important thing in coding is to understand how things are working. It's still the same thing. We know the inputs, we know the algorithm, and there's your output. These formulas can change. Sometimes you would know the formula, many times you wouldn't. In those cases, you can just Google the formula up, first of all, and then translate that thing back to your code part. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. What else can we do here? So let me make it more user friendly. So let's say I don't just want to see the number, the result. What if I also want to include a text message along with it? Maybe let's say I want to print average is equal to and then this number, just to make it more user friendly. I can do so. So you can again use the print statement. So see, you can actually use print statements to do a lot of things. You can print a message, you can print some variable. Okay. Now, how do we write a message? Long back in our very first program, we wrote message in our quotes. So anything that you want to print literally to your screen, that should be enclosed within quotes. So I want this thing to get printed literally on my screen. Average is dash. So this will get printed as it is. Now this is one part of my print function. I can put a comma and then put something else in here, the average right now. So now my print function will do two things. It will print this message and then the average. And where do I get the average from? From this whole calculation. Let's first see what the output will be. If it doesn't make sense to you, we'll try to understand this thing again. So I'll come
All right.
back here.
Just one quick question. So why the dash when it says average is dash?
That's just for the visual aspects, nothing much. I can write hyphen, colon, doesn't matter. That's totally as for user, not for the program. So I'm just showing it to you. You can type it anything inside the code. That will get literally printed as it is. Make sense? So if you want to say average is this, or maybe I want to add average is equal to.
So you can say any message.
Any message. So if I want to sound more technical, this part is known as static part. That is, this thing will remain the same in your output screen. And this, the next part, is your dynamic part. That is, this is a variable which will contain something depending upon some other values. But this will remain the same. Okay? So it makes sense actually. This message should remain as it is no matter what the average is. Maybe for our next program, the average could be 32.5 or just anything. But this message shouldn't change, right? So that's what we're doing here. We are writing a message down that remains the same, literally, and then we'll have some value which will get calculated depending on some inputs. Make sense?
Yeah.
Any doubts still here?
So I don't think so. Not for right now. Not for the very moment.
Okay, okay. So what else would you want to do? What else? What else? So let's actually do one thing. Let's keep the session till here for now. I would want you to try some of the questions. Do you want to try a question right now, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you something. Okay, let's do it. I'll stop the screen share. Wait. Yep, you start sharing your screen.
Okay, let me share mine.
Sure.
Can you see it?
Not yet. Let's wait.
Oh, I think it's on.
Okay, it's visible to me. It's visible to me now.
Okay.
Open a new file. Save it as something else, maybe. No, no, a new file. Yeah, so tap on new file button. Good to go. Now, first of all, save it. Just give it some name, .py.
The coastal. PY,
Okay.
right? Or PSY?
Py.
Okay.
This is good. Okay. So I want to do what actually? Maybe I want to convert meters to. Should we try something? Okay, let's simply calculate area of a square. Okay, let's keep it simple. Make sense?
Square. Okay.
Now, can you do me a favor? Suppose this is a very new problem to you, and you don't even know the formula of area of a square. Your first step should be to find out the formula anyhow. So for now, you can just Google it up right away. Figure it out. How do we calculate area of a square? What would be the requirements? Then tell me the algorithm, and then write the code for it. Make sense? Area of a square. So it says area is equal to x square. What is this as? So if you look somewhere, you should get it somewhere
Side to
inside the square. So area is side into side. What do you think should be my inputs?
area
Yeah,
equals
you will calculate the area. What do we need to calculate the area now?
this
Yeah,
wait
that's just
this
side into
side
side.
to this
Side into
side
side,
to,
yes.
yes. So we'll just pick a number.
Yes, we can. But then we can do one thing. We can actually take side. We can save side somewhere. So let's say in the very first line, you can say side equal to some number. Then in a new line, you could have said area equal to side into side.
Side equal area equals side
Side into side.
into side.
Multiplied. Multiplication symbol. Asterisk. Yes.
It is.
Good. But now here's an issue. This line should come after side equal to 3. And that makes sense, right? Once you have the side, then you can calculate the area, not the other way around, right? Okay. And now once you have the area, just go to the new line and print this area, and that should be your result.
Then I type in print.
Brackets.
Print area.
Yes, exactly.
I don't just close, right?
Yeah, this is fine. Just save it.
Okay.
And run this program now. Now running a program means just this, yeah, to see the output. And what would you do here now? Print space name of your file. It is
Postal py.
.py. Okay, So just type this or hit tab, it should autofill. If everything is all right, okay. So, hmm, it says unable to, oh, uh, you actually said print coastal.py. We had to write in Python
Oh,
coastal.py. That's all right. Python space, name of the file, hit enter,
right.
and there it is. 3 into 3 is 9. Make sense?
Yep.
So how does this look to you, the Python thing? See, if it looks simple, that's good, but it will take you some more practice, okay?
Yes.
So this course will only be able to help you if you can take out some time at least 30 minutes a day. If you can do so,
Okay.
we are good to go. Okay?
Okay.
Because see, coding, it takes hands-on practice. I mean, if I'm coding, you would understand it. But then, unless you type the code yourself, uh, it won't really be of much help, right? So if you can take
Okay.
out some every day,
Um,
uh,
do you do you recommend any like practice sites or like
I will,
do you
I
have like
will,
any recommendations?
I will. Not right away. Let's say if
Okay.
we are done with one, two, three sessions, then I can suggest you some other resources. So, have you tried learning through so many tutorials before? Any website ever? YouTube tutorials, Coursera, EDX, anything at all?
Not really.
Not really. Okay, don't worry. I'll maybe share some link with you. You can try that. Or I do have some PDFs. Okay. So if you are comfortable in reading through PDFs, I can share them with you as well. Or I can just give you name of a book if you want to purchase. Make sense?
Can you email me the PDF?
We can do so. Samir will actually send you everything. Okay?
All right. Okay, and I
Any
think
doubt?
this is a good stopping point for today.
Okay, okay. So yeah, this is good to go. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow then.